Now we're gonna get our acceleration here with the Tundra Limited. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here. In today's video, we're gonna be going over a 2021 Toyota Tundra Limited with the TRD package. First and foremost, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Toyota here in Murray, Utah for providing us with the Tundra. Check out the inventory in the link below. Let's just get right into it. A naturally aspirated 5.7 liter V8 that goes through a 6-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 13 around town and then 17 on the highway, with power outputs being 381 horsepower and then 401 pound-feet of torque. Let's go over the front end on the Tundra Limited. So first and foremost, the thing you're probably going to notice the most is you've got this giant little hood scoop right there. Looks pretty cool. And then you can see that there's full LED lights, and if I get the camera at just the right angle, you can see just how bright those lights are. And then you've got the daytime running lights. By the way, in person they don't flicker, that's just the frame rate of the camera. And then you see the fog lights just down below. Got a couple of parking sensors right there on either side of the truck, and then you got the sensor right there which also doubles as the Toyota logo. And then other than that, you've got all the chrome on the front end because again, it's kind of like more of a luxury based truck. But there's the front end on the Tundra. Now coming around the side here, we've got two 75mm tires wrapped around 18-inch wheels in the front and in the rear. That is part of the TRD package. And then you also get skid plates underneath the truck as well with the TRD package. And then coming up to the suspension, you've got the Bilstein shock absorbers that are also part of that TRD package. That's that little blue thing right there. And then you can see you've got the 5.7 V8 badge, Tundra badge, all the normal stuff, limited, so you know it's a limited, TRD badge. So like you have like 4 different badges saying all these different things on the truck. Kind of makes it a little bit confusing, but there's the side of the Tundra. Now coming here into the bed of the Tundra, you can see we've got a spray-in bed liner back here, which is definitely a nice little touch. And then you see you've got the little hooks right there on the side of the bed as well, and it actually says Tundra there on the end. And then you've got the normal cargo light right there at the top of the bed. Other than that, this is the shorter sized bed for the Tundra. Pretty normal, nothing too crazy happening back here. Now let's go over the rest of the rear. So you still get the old school taillights with the Tundra, a couple more parking sensors. Towing capacity is right around 10,000 pounds with this 5.7 V8 in the Tundra. And other than that, the design hasn't changed for a long time, so you've seen this before. Here's a quick look at the shocks here in the rear with the TRD package. Again, you get those Bilstein, so it's gonna be a little bit better on the off-road. And then right next to it, you can see you've got a little gas cap, pretty normal right there. Now let's take a look at the door panel here in the rear of the Tundra. So you've got kind of like the soft touch. You're going to rest your arm with pretty nice trim just down below it. And then you've got the padding up here with the stitching on the side. And then here are the seats in the back of the Limited. So you can see full black leather right there. It looks like we get a free pen right there with the seat, which is pretty cool. Probably fell out of like a salesman's pants on a test drive, but I think it's funny. Anyways, picking up the seat, you can see the space underneath the seat. And well, let's move this pen out first, but let's actually pop in. So step in height, it's actually not too bad getting in here without side steps. Sorry about the messy hair, but if you guys are wondering, I'm 5'11", I got a good amount of headroom. Legroom is also solid here. And then you can see you get a lonely 12 volts in the back. And then pulling this down, you can see you've got a couple of cup holders, and that's all for the rear. Now coming up and looking at the door here in the front, notice that again you got the padding right here and then on the side as well. Nothing's changed. Here's a quick look at the mirror, and they are heated. And then here is a look at the seats in the front. Again, you've got that full leather here in the front, and in terms of the padding on them, they're actually pretty soft to the touch. There's your adjustment on the seat. You can see it says Tundra TRD right there. There's the pedal layout, and then we see we've got a couple controls over here, mainly the mirror adjustments here instead of on the door like it normally is. And then this is for the rear window. That's another little important control, but there's one more look before we pop in. Here's a quick look at the steering wheel in the Tundra Limited. You can see the cruise control kind of sits there in the back. You got the controls for the center stack, your volume controls, voice command controls, all of that. This is your collision assistance, and then that is your lane departure assistance. Then you have the stock for the lights on that side, and then the windshield wiper stock's actually on the other side. Now here's a quick look at the gauge cluster. You can see RPMs are on the left side. On the right side, you've got the speed, and then you can see you've got a couple other gauges right there. Namely, you've got the little center screen right there that you can scroll through. So right now it's got the miles per hour, and then it's telling me that I need to go get some fuel in the truck. Probably because, you know, the gas mileage isn't the best, but the engine's reliable at least. But yeah, you guys can see there's a couple different menus you can scroll through. I think this one's pretty cool, where you can set a time until rest so that the vehicle can be like, hey, stop driving, take a nap. Now here's the infotainment system. First off, let's go over the camera part of it. So you just have a traditional backup camera, and the lines do not turn with the steering wheel. Again, it's pretty normal setup. Every single vehicle has it nowadays. But in terms of the screen itself, the button response time is pretty good. You can see as I press the button from the home screen to the menu, happens relatively quickly. And then with the rest of it, you can pop your phone onto the screen, all that kind of stuff. When you actually press the buttons, the response time on the buttons is actually pretty good as well on the actual screen itself. So like overall, I feel like it's a pretty good infotainment system. Down below the infotainment system, you can see we've got the climate controls. We do have a dual zone climate here in the Limited, and then we also get heated seats here up in the front. And then here's our drive line select. So you got your 2-wheel drive, your 4-wheel high, and then you push in for your 4-wheel low. And then over here you can see you've got your tow haul mode, trailer brake controls, and all of that in that little section. And then just down below you can see you've got a parking sensor right there with the 12 volt, and then you can see you've got all the USBs, all that stuff. Little cup holder right there on the side. And then coming over here, we can see you've got the shifter for the 6-speed automatic transmission, and it does have the manual shift mode if you want to shift the gears yourself. And then you can see you've got a little Limited plaque here on the interior, so it lets you know that you picked the Limited. But with the rest of the center console here, you can see leather on the top where you're actually going to rest your arm, and you could use that right there as like a phone holder, for example. Opening up the center console, you can see storage space in there is actually pretty solid. You do get a little 12-volt cigarette lighter inside of it, and that's all for the center console. Here's a quick look all along the dash. You guys can see little storage space up there, but then also the materials. And then they do another little area of soft touch right there with the stitching. And then you've got wood trim just down below to make it look a little bit more luxurious. And then here is the glove box, pretty normal glove box. It's got 2 different tiers on it. And then the vents are all circular, which I love because then it's really easy to like direct the airflow with them versus conventional vents. Up top here, wha-bam, we've got a sunroof here in the Limited, and then you can see you've got the sunglass holder up top as well. Pretty normal mirror, but again, remember we've got that window in the rear, so press that button and the whole window comes down. So not just the middle, but the whole window. That's the thing that I definitely love in Toyotas, and I wish more manufacturers would release that. Said this a million times, but it still stands. Now that we're done going over the interior on this Tundra Limited, let's quickly get into the pricing. So in terms of pricing, this truck stickers for about $52,000 for any type of market adjustment. That all being said, let's take this Limited out and see how it drives. Let's quickly talk about visibility here on the Tundra. So visibility over the hood is really solid. And there's your visibility through the mirrors, and they do have blind spot monitoring. And then here it's all throughout the rear of the Limited. So visibility in general is really solid. And that all being said, let's set off. We are setting off here in the Tundra Limited with the TRD package, and I actually just drove a Platinum right before this, so I'll be able to make a few comparisons in this driving portion to the Platinum. So first off, from a road noise perspective, and again, sorry, it's not too windy today, so I can't really talk on wind noise, but there's a lot of traffic, so we can talk about traffic noise and city noise in general. From that perspective, it's pretty well insulated. I pretty much rank the Tundra as average compared to other trucks in the segment from that perspective. Now, from the ride quality perspective, again, I just drove the Platinum, and I swear this ride's just slightly rougher. I'm feeling a little bit more in my butt than I did in the Platinum. That's what I'm trying to say, guys. Just a little bit more, and I'm guessing it's those Bilstein shocks. I would think that they would make it smoother, right? Because it's supposed to make it so it's better for the off-road, but it feels like it's just slightly rougher in the brakes. Solid. Taking a turn here, you guys can see that it's super easy to turn around the corner right there. But yeah, road noise, ride quality perspective, all really solid, pretty much on average, on par with other trucks, but compared to the Platinum Tundra, a little bit rougher on the ride quality. Now we're gonna get our acceleration here with the Tundra Limited. It's about what I expected. It's the same as the Platinum I just drove. I mean, I didn't expect that to be any different. And if you guys didn't see that review for some reason, then I'm gonna pop it over into the manual mode. So we can do a couple manual shifts here at the Limited. So you guys can see the downshifts do take a moment, and then when you're on throttle and upshift, again, it does take a second. It's not instantaneous right into the next gear, so it's a little bit short on the shift speeds. But in terms of the smoothness on the shift speed, it's definitely really smooth, so it doesn't like jerk you around or anything like that. And you guys can see the brakes again are pretty solid here with the Limited. But overall, from the acceleration, I ranked it again in the Platinum video just slightly below other trucks from the acceleration. It's mostly due to the transmission. It's got the power. The shifts are just a little bit slow, and so because of the shift speed, it kind of brings it down compared to, right, Ford's 10 speed and then Ram's 8 speed, and then Chevy uses the same 10 speed as Ford, so all the same right there. But let's get into summing things up with this truck. So again, like I've said in my other Tundra videos, if you're looking for something that's super reliable, boom, the Tundra's reliable, right? They've had more than enough time to work out all the tweaks in the engine and transmission, and then with the infotainment system and all the other electronics, right? They don't update it every year like some of these other manufacturers, and it doesn't have a ton of crazy tech either. So there's not a lot of stuff to break. It's a pretty old school truck. You might actually even be able to work on it to an extent, which is hard to say for a lot of modern vehicles. And from the luxury perspective, it doesn't have the cool gadgets and gizmos that a lot of the other trucks have, right? It doesn't have like a camera in the mirror. It doesn't have a 360 camera system. It doesn't have the nicest resolution on the backup camera. But again, with the tech comes a lack of reliability to an extent. And also, this is pretty good for a price point perspective. So $52,000 for a Limited. Doesn't have air-conditioned seats, but it's kind of similar to like an LTZ Chevy or Laramie Ram. And most of those trucks that I review, they sticker for closer to $60,000 with a few options that they have. So this is a little bit less expensive. Again, less tech, less modernity. I cannot talk today. Less modernity to the truck, right? And so it's kind of like a give and a take, right? It's a little bit less expensive, a little bit more reliable, doesn't have as much tech, but I think it's worth it. That is going to sum things up on the 2021 Toyota Tundra Limited. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry H. Miller Toyota here in Murray for providing us with the Tundra. Check out the inventory in the link below. I'll see all of you in the next video.